Okay, this is a video on a DRZ KLX 110, how to change the throttle cable. First things first is this brass grommet on the top. See how there's a little channel there? This little clip has to be removed from it. Just use a small screwdriver or a dental pick or something. That can be unscrewed right off, so as such. And then you're going to take the cap that has the slider on it. On the underside is a spring, just like that, and that's what you're left with. So how we do this is you push back, pull this spring back, and you're going to unhook it from your slider and your needle. Pull your spring off, and then pull that through through this. Sometimes it'll get a little bit caught up, or you can cut it. So anyway, so I'm not going to cut it just because this is a brand new throttle cable. You put that back in, and then you take the spring, put it back over the spring. It feeds down into this little hole here, and that's that. So there's a channel here and a not like a little other channel here. You got to make sure that this goes in the right way and feeds all the way down, because if you look in here, it's clear all the way through. It'll only feed in one way properly. So just kind of spin it around until it's there, because you can put it in upside down, and I have that in, as you can see, but it's not actually down all the way, so it's got to go 180 degrees until it catches. Just like so. Push the spring back down and make sure that that cap is nice and level. So that's your throttle cable, and then you take this brass nut, put it back in. Then you take the little clip and you feed it so the flat side goes into the opening. Just like that, and that will hold that into the channel on the throttle cable. So now I'll show you the how to change a pilot and a main. All you need is a Phillips screwdriver, and you take the bowl off. Clear out drain any fuel out of it before you do this, because outside or in a proper storage thing. Take these two Phillips screwdrivers off, or two Phillips screws off. Lift the bowl straight off. This is what you have. So you can have a nice gasket here. These are your pilot and your main. This is your pilot. So if your bike isn't starting and idling properly, you're going to take this one out and you're going to clean it. This is what your pilot looks like. So you just use a small wire or a welding cleaning tip and pushing it through the little hole there. That's your pilot. And then a lot of guys will run a different main if they're just to make it a little bit richer and get a little bit more fuel going into these into the bike itself. And just remember, these are brass, so you don't want to put a lot of pressure or torque on them. So, and this is your main. That's just a main. This big part is actually a main holder that separates that nice brass, the new brass main that I put in there. But I just thought I'd make a little video on it. So we'll put that back in. Now when you put this back on, you want to have this facing the back of the bike. It's just a drain or an overflow. Line those up nicely. Put your two Phillips screwdrivers back in. That's how you disassemble a KLX and KLX DRZ 110 carburetor and put new main and pilot and new throttle cable on. Cheers.